We want to get back, obviously, to the major story that we are following for you tonight, the discovery of Robert Card's body tonight, found dead. Our Jack Mohammed is in Lewiston again tonight, talking with someone we have been hearing from regularly over the last 48 hours, Leroy Walker, who is a counselor in the city of Auburn, right across the river, and also learned that his son was among the dead from Wednesday's shooting. And Jack, I understand you're talking with Leroy tonight.
Yeah, Brian and Amanda, that's correct. We actually switched gears here from Lewiston. We are now in Auburn right now, still very much a community impacted by this tragic shooting, the 10th largest in the United States history. 18 people killed. Still, family members working to pick up the pieces, understand just what happened here, as we had another piece of that puzzle completed here, as we did find out the suspected gunman his body was found this evening in Lisbon Falls. And at the heart of this is the families that are impacted by this. And one man we've been talking to since about the midnight hour of this tragic shooting is Auburn City Councilor Leroy Walker. So we're actually going to bring Leroy Walker in right now to talk about this. And I know, Leroy, this has got to be such a raw feeling. Just little less than an hour ago, we had this press conference. You told me earlier you were listening in. What did you hear?
Well, the first thing that I heard was they found Mr. Carr at Redemption Center or something like that in Lisbon Falls, and of course feelings came over me that I was hoping, when they said it, in my mind I was hoping they were saying that they caught him, not just found his body, and of course they found his body. He was dead.
Why were you hoping that they caught him instead of finding his body?
I wanted more closure, to know and hope to find out why he went through such a crazy moment the other night when he took the life of all these people. That we'll never have that closure. There's 18 families that lost their loved ones, and we can't ask him no questions. We can't get no answers. The law enforcement can't get any answers. Justice, to me, is not done. The man took the chicken way out so that he wouldn't have to face any of the consequences that he did. So I'm still, in my heart, empty for the answers of why he took my son's life.
Now, Leroy, if you could ask a question about this, anything that can make you feel any better sense of closure about this, what would you like to know, maybe?
I would ask, what made him pull the trigger? Why did you pull the trigger? I believe his mind was affected with something. I've heard nothing but this man was a good man, coming all the way up until something happened to him, and mentally ill at the end. I don't know what happened to the brain, other than he definitely was affected by something. The devil somehow started to take over control of him in the mind. But he would probably have to have medical attention and everything first before he could answer the questions. But that's one of the very first. Why did you kill these people?
And Leroy, I want to backtrack a little bit too. It was 7:45 in the evening when law enforcement discovered the body of the suspected gunman, Robert Card. There, I believe, two lines of confusion and frustration and wonder that you had heading into this. The first, when we originally met, and you heard on our airwaves around the midnight hour of this shooting, where you didn't know the fate of your son. You were looking for him everywhere. And now that confusion and frustration was directed into why this happened in the first place. What has been your thought process over these last 55 hours?
Yeah, that's a good question, to tell you the truth. I've been so busy answering questions and getting my son's name out there so people knew exactly who he was, and that all of these families probably feel the same as I do. That was my loved one. He was my kid born. I brought him up, and now I've lost him. And I answered that 1,000 times. I tried to make it so everybody knows Joe Walker. And now we're standing here, and And in a very short time, there'll be no more questions asked. And I won't be able to give any kind of answers because we've lost this man by taking his own life.
You know, we heard law enforcement say during the press conference that there will be more to come regarding their investigation, regarding what they discovered. I know a big question that's been asked by the media to law enforcement has been that note that was left by Robert Card, according to law enforcement. You know, but at the end of the day, as we've been saying all along on our airwaves, it's at the end of the day, we want to remember the Mainers that were lost this week. And you were saying that soon there will be no more questions for you to answer. But I mean, what do you hope people take away from this experience, knowing your son about all of this?
Let's make sure that it doesn't happen in any other communities. That's the big thing. We all together, we could stop this if we would only stop the hate in this world. Once we find a way of doing that, these things are not going to happen out there. That doesn't help getting my son's name out there or letting people in the world know that my son was a good boy, excellent kid for this community, is going to be missed by many. But again, you people are going to go away. And I'm hoping that we connected with enough people out there so they think about it for a long time. And maybe they'll ask questions that will force people in this community to keep answering. And maybe we'll come to a settlement in our hearts and brains that there's a reason for what happened. There'll never be a good reason, I'm sure. But somewhere along the way, the Lord is gonna make that answer come about, and then we'll maybe settle and go on in life.
And just to talk more about Joey. He went by Joey, right?
Yeah, most of the time, yeah.
I remember you were telling me that some of the things that he's left behind. Obviously, you're his father, but he left behind children, right?
And his grandchildren, and of course his wife. We don't want to leave Tracy out of it because Tracy was the life of his life, and she had 2 kids. He married her a few years after they dated, and he was bringing up the children with her at the same time. They were very young when they met, and then they grew up. One is in college, one is here working, and he had 2 children, a boy and a girl, and that's their grandchildren, and they were bringing the last 3, 4, 5 years, whatever the age of the little ones are, they've been bringing them up together with the father of the 2 because he had separated. So it's a real close family. I had a second wife. My first wife passed just a few years ago. My other one, I divorced, so I'm not a married man. But all of us are a loving family. We're all together.
Definitely a tight-knit family, and you know, I can't help but say this again, that it's just a hero you described that's going to be deeply missed.
He will be by many in this community. Thousands, there'll be thousands, yes.
Definitely. Leroy, we can't thank you enough for joining us now 3 times since this horrific tragedy, unthinkable tragedy happened. And again, we thank you again for joining us to talk about your reaction to Maine State Police, law enforcement, investigators discovering the body of the suspected gunman, Robert Card. Now, they said that they discovered his body along the Androscoggin River in Lisbon Falls. And as we've been saying all along, at the end of the day, we can't help but remember those we lost in this tragic shooting, the 10th largest mass shooting in U.S. history, and certainly Maine's largest mass shooting. It'll be years of us talking about this, thinking about this, wondering how we just pick up the pieces. But these are stories that we're going to hope to tell, and we'll hope to pick up the pieces and move forward, but never forget those that we lost.